Welcome, beloveds, to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day, and I'm your spiritual living coach. And I see a world where people in recovery are living their best life and loving it. And so I get the opportunity to provide the spiritual tools and the loving support for your personal transformation. Today, we're going to be talking about improving your communication skills and who cannot afford to improve their communication skills. I mean, I don't care how long I've been facilitating communication workshops and skill building, I can always be more effective in my communication. And I got to tell you that, it's not about being a good communicator, or what's good communication and what's bad communication, as much as it is about effective communication. And one of the things that, hi Susan, hey Joseph, what's up Joe Levy, right? One of the things that I was most surprised with about communication, and this goes for everybody, and when I say, by the way, when I say people in recovery, I'm talking to mostly everybody. People who are recovering their wholeness, people who are recovering an amazing way of living, and people who are leaving and putting down the weapons of mass distraction, right? Those weapons of mass distraction can be stress, can be anxiety, fear, doubt. It could be drugs and alcohol. It could be, gaming. It could be, the addiction to the cell phones, right? It could be all of those things. So here's what's up. When I started learning about communication, I was actually so surprised to recognize that only 7% of communication is verbal. What? Like 100% communication, out of all the ways that we communicate, only 7% is verbal communication. So the other 93% of communication is nonverbal communication. Now, let's take a look at what that nonverbal is, just to kind of get a good idea of what I'm talking about, so that this kind of fits into perspective. And that is, emails, texts, sign language, body language. Body language has this whole other way of how we use our body language to communicate. There's also the energetic communication, smoke signals, billboards, signs is a one-way communication. And so all of those ways of communication it opens up a plethora of avenues and streams for which we can always improve on our communication skills. And so as people in recovery, right? And here's the other thing that I wanted to talk about, especially when I talk about like people in recovery. Imagine you growing up as a kid, what you endured, what you saw, what you didn't see, what you learned, what you didn't learn, that might be different than what you believe today. Imagine whether you were brought up in a great family or in a not so great family. I know that all families do the best they can with what they have, and we have these traumas, we have these fears, things that happen to us, things that we participated in. And so, pretty much what happens, unless we're actively seeking recovery, is that we are walking around as wounded individuals. We're still carrying some of the childhood wounds that have gone unaddressed. And I know that 12-step programs help a lot of people stay sober, stay abstinent, people who gamble, or who use, sex as the escape, or even gaming now as the escape, or marijuana and all of those things. Like, there are things that have happened, shame. Imagine that you're wearing your wounds, not feeling good enough, being told that you weren't enough, being teased because of your religion or your race or your sexual orientation, or you weren't what a boy was supposed to be or what a girl was supposed to be. And we walk around with these ideas about who we are in the world and who other people are in the world. And so I call those wounds, those things that we walk around with, kind of always being protective over ourselves, our feelings, and things of that nature. So imagine communicating through that static, Like, I'm trying to tell you that I love you and that I care about you, but how it's coming out is, I'm telling you through my wounds, through my experiences that sometimes have skewed the way that I see things. And so as people who are recovering, people who are looking to, put these things back to where they belong in the past and to the nothingness from which they came, so that we can really shine our authentic self and be our authentic selves, communication is key. Communication is key. And one of the methods, one of the strategies around communication that I wanted to talk about today is something that you've probably heard as a kid, or maybe even as an adult, and that is say what you mean and mean what you say. To have those two things be congruent, for me to actually speak and say what I mean and then mean what I say, is an idea that is very complex. It's very complex in that, how do I communicate and say? So we're talking about verbal communication right now. And again, that's 7% of all of communication. How do I say what I mean? Well, I think that in order for me to say what I mean, there's a very important aspect of that gets to happen. And the aspect of that gets to happen is, I must know what I want, what I mean, what I'm desiring, what I'm expressing. Like, I gotta know that. So in order to have that, it requires self-awareness. And this is all intertwined. Like I said, this is very complex, but I'm going to break it down in a way today in our time together where we have this opportunity to just kind of have the bite-sized pieces. So how do I say what I mean? Well, I have to know what I mean. So what do I mean? If I'm in a love relationship, if I'm in a friendship, if I'm, speaking with my neighbor or a colleague, what is it that I'm thinking or feeling or experiencing? And what words, what tone do I use in order to communicate that? Sometimes it's also important to think about the outcome. And I know that some people might say, hey, then that's also manipulation, because if I'm thinking about the outcome at hand, I just want peace, or I just want to be loved, that then I'm going to adjust the way I say things so that I can get the desired outcome. And then there's another school of thought. There's a school of thought that if we're just simply honest with whatever it is that we're feeling and whatever it is that's coming up for us in the moment, that we have this opportunity to actually be real. So if I'm mad, or if you call me sweetie pie, hey, Crystal, I love you too, sweetie pea. Mwah. If I'm mad at somebody and I go, you pissed, I'm so angry right now. I don't like it when you call me sweetie. Now that tone is, some might call aggressive or harsh, or you can hear the anger and or the frustration in my voice. I mean, if I'm thinking of, so I can just be real. I don't like it when you call me sweetie. I'm not your sweetie. Don't call me that. I'm feeling so angry. And even like growling. A friend of mine says, just don't use words. Sometimes just growl like an animal to just kind of get the energetic out of you, right? Ugh, it upsets me. I'm upset. I'm upset when you call me sweetie, you know. Now, in other forms of communication, again, now thinking about the outcome and then adjusting, is like, I don't like it when you call me sweetie. Are you aware that I don't like it when you call me sweetie? I feel angry and upset when you call me sweetie. And a conversation could be had. Now, what I'm going to say is progress, not perfection. I know that based on our culture, based on our race, based on our geographic locations, based on our religions, based on even our gender and gender expression, we're taught how to communicate in ways that we think are effective, or that our parents or our teachers or clergy have thought to be effective or even godly or righteous or right or correct. And there's no such thing as correct, as much as there's ineffective communication and ineffective communication. And the bottom line is this, is that you got to find the way that works for you. And when I say find the way that works for you, it also means, are you also taking care of your body temple, your mental and emotional state? Because social emotional intelligence and learning, and also social emotional health and well-being, is important. And I don't think that it gets the consideration that it needs to. So if I'm angry, what is wrong with me saying, I'm so angry with you, I don't like it when you call me sweetie, don't call me sweetie, compared to, hey, are you aware that calling me sweetie, I get upset about that, I don't like that? Which one feels a little more true to you? One is calm and collected, but it doesn't allow me the room to express the feelings and the energetic that need to kind of climax, right? To be released so that I can get over it. And if you're someone who cares about me and we're in relationship, we can both get over it, because it is a way of expressing and emptying the body of that energetic. I mean, the truth is that it's there, but then it's manipulation when you try to control how I express myself. So what do you think about that? I mean, it is not necessarily the most common way that people communicate, right? And then, the second half of that statement is to mean what you say. And it's important to mean what you say, and not to just simply throw out stuff to hurt people or to charm people. Oh yeah, you're the most important person in my life. When clearly I'm not meaning what I say. When I say that, I'm using it to manipulate or to control an exterior situation. Communication is complex. And so I think what I'd love to, hey, Angie, what's up? I think what I would love to have us think about this week is our methods of communicating, particularly verbal communication, and whether it's effective or non-effective. I had a guy, we were texting back and forth, one of my workers, just today. And I said, I go, you want to work today? Some people consider it a holiday, a day off. They want to spend time with their family, maybe barbecue, do some things. No judgment whether you do or you don't. I'm not. And he was like, yeah, I want to come and work. I was like, all right, cool. He was like, what time? I said, 9:30 or 10. because my show's over at 9:30 Pacific, like around 9:20, 9:30 Pacific. So he shows up before 9 o'clock. I'm with my prayer partner. Like, I'm in the midst of prayer and he shows up, and it's just like, I'm praying. Like, I'm not stopping what I'm doing here. When we say 9:30 and 10 and you come before 9, I don't know what to tell you. Like, but of course, I was able to work it out real quick and let him in and just kind of go do. When we say this time, this is what I mean. Or, we got to find a way to effectively communicate. I like when things go with ease and grace, but sometimes stirring things up a little bit, is good for my soul, because it gives me an opportunity to express and to feel alive and to live, and for us to just kind of get in a swing together. And the bottom line is that I want to be able to not have resentments and not carry resentment. So that's the other thing about folks in recovery. Like, imagine if we could just say what we mean and mean what we say and say it, and be with the person until we both kind of get over it, until the energetic peaks, until it's done. And it's like, wow, well, that, oh yeah, I'm glad you heard me, or I'm glad I see your perspective. What's up, Corn? Hey, Candace. That's the thing about communication, is that, am I stifling my full body expression with it in order to protect you? But then if I'm protecting you, you're not really getting the real me and what I'm experiencing and feeling at the moment. Or do I just go ahead and say, I'm feeling hot and bothered. I don't like this. I resent you for this. And we work through it and we get on the other side. In the Heal Your Body book, Louise Hayes has this idea, and it's been proven that when we don't allow ourselves to fully express the joys and the anger, that we have an accumulation of energy in the body, and that energy is actually dis-ease. You get it? Dis-ease, which is disease. And that when we allow, because it's not ladylike, or you need to be in your place, or you speaking to authority and all of that stuff, like, it doesn't matter. To be able to fully express and be with each other through the process is important. So anyway, what I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes to just relax. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. And when it comes to improving our communication skills, what I'd like us to do is maybe envision someone we'd like to improve our communication skills with. And it might even just be ourselves. That if we're going to say what we mean, to begin to see ourselves actually doing the work of knowing the self, of knowing myself, what I like, what I don't like, what I appreciate, and allowing whatever energy is in the body, whether it's an overjoy of love and appreciation, to be able to communicate that, like, I love you so much, I just want to squeeze you. Ugh. Again, like that. Or I'm so angry right now. So angry with you. I don't like it when you do that. I don't like it when you say that. That we're able to say what we mean and to mean what we say. And to actually see ourselves being in communion with a beloved friend, a neighbor, our spouse, our SOs, our significant others, our co-workers, even people who may be considered authority. That we're able to express and communicate full body, that feeling, so that it's not pent up, so that it flows, and that we're staying there engaged, that we're taking personal responsibility for that communication. Just begin to see that. You need to have a conversation with somebody you've been dreading. Just see that happening for yourself. And as you begin to open your eyes now, as our time is drawing to a close, see yourself easily having these conversations with people that you love. See yourself growing. So whether it's that you're calm, cool, and collected when you're having that conversation, or whether you let it rip and you fully express with your body, what's most important is it effective? And that you begin to kind of, by trial and error, engage in conversations with people that you love. Because improving our communication skills is an everyday thing. It's something that we can be paying attention to. And I certainly appreciate you being here with me today. For those of you who are in celebration mode of independence, good for you. For those of you who are protesting independence and saying, what independence? Good for you. For those of you who have no clue what I'm talking about, good for you. Know that you're loved. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you. I'll see you all here next Monday, same time. Have a great day. Know that you're loved. Bye for now.